things, you have to figure out what's anterior and what's posterior. So in order to do that, there's a couple things you can look at. First, we have these invaginations in the spinal cord. The more prominent one will be anterior, so that's the anterior median fissure. This would be the posterior median sulcus. The other thing you can use is the posterior root ganglion. It's an enlargement in the posterior root that houses those unipolar sensory neurons. So once you've identified anterior and posterior, you can identify everything else. These right here would be the anterior horns, lateral horns, posterior horns, anterior funiculi, which is plural for funiculus, lateral funiculi, posterior funiculi. Coming into the anterior horn, we have the anterior root, and going out of the posterior horn, we have the posterior root, and then the posterior root ganglion, and then these two come together to form your spinal nerve. We have another model that shows these features within a vertebra, which is nice because we can also see the meninges. I'll put them back on for you guys later. So again, identifying posterior and anterior, so I'll flip it around so it matches the one we just did. My more prominent invaginations, the anterior median fissure, and then the posterior median sulcus. And then if I follow this out, I can see the posterior root ganglion leads me into the posterior horn here. Lateral horn and anterior horns. Anterior funiculi, lateral funiculi, posterior funiculi. Anterior root labeled properly, posterior root. Posterior root ganglion, spinal nerve again labeled properly. And then you can see the anterior ramus is larger than the posterior ramus. And then coming right off the anterior ramus, you have the ramus communicans that goes to the sympathetic trunk ganglion right there. And I'll show you guys a larger model in a little bit that shows it more clearly. The other thing I wanted to talk about were the meninges. So if you look here, this entire region is an epidural space. It's real in the spinal cord. Then we have the dural mater. This next bluish grayish layer is the arachnoid mater. The subarachnoid space is all of this right here, which houses the CSF. And then the pia mater surrounds the actual spinal cord. You notice there are these little extensions of the pia mater out towards the arachnoid and dural mater. That is a denticulate ligament. The end. You guys will be going over, let me know if you can't hear me over that. You guys will be going over the spinal nerves. These are nerves that are branching from the different plexuses, so like the cervical, the brachial, the lumbar, and the sacral plexus. These nerves